Hello, welcome back. My name's Andrew. It's been about 5 minutes since I've been back home and ended the last video. So I'm ready now after I've had that lovely refreshing swim and slip into that water to carry on. You saw on the roof of the car there that I had that metal, and that is going to be so I can finish this area across here for those uprights. If I can get those into the ground now, put a sheet down, I can then reduce that mound of stones and fill this whole area here leading into the shower, which will make this whole area feel much tidier. The bus inside, I still need to finish that from there to the front. I also have decided that I'm going to put that wood burner back in to finish that off. There's a reason for that and I'll go into it when I get to it. But first of all, I need to carry on with this fencing. What a difference that makes, taking the leaves off the bamboo. It's a really nice colour as well. But while I was at this hardware store this morning, funnily enough, this guy just pulled up and dumped out 2 rolls of this bamboo fencing here. So I'm going to undo them now and just see what condition they're in, because if I can get one across there, that solves my immediate problem over there. But then it also means that with this bamboo, I may be able to just hold on to that for a second and use that around the shower area, which I think will look really nice. So I don't want to cut the lengths down just in case I do them too short. So I'm just going to check this out first of all. I was just about to go back out the door again on my 3rd search to get these guttering pipes, and a truck just pulled up outside. They are here to remove the cables first of all from the 3 posts, and I've just been told in the next few days they're going to be coming back to remove the posts themselves. I did a lot of driving the last couple of days, and after they took the cables down, I did actually carry on my journey because I figured just get the driving out of the way. So now I'm back, I can stay here and not have to go anywhere for a few days. In the end, I managed to get this from the local hardware store. So all that driving around, fortunately I was driving around to look for other things as well. I saved about 30 euros on this. I'm going to spray it so it will look a little nicer. But the roofing over there, I saved about 50 euros. So just those 2 I saved myself about 80 euros. And that will build up, and unfortunately I'm not in a position where I can just splash out and have whatever I want. That's why I'm doing all the work myself, because it doesn't grow on trees apart from my carob obviously, but that was 90 euros and that's all I've earned this year, so I have to be super careful at the moment and watch what I'm spending. But anyway, I've got this now and I'm ready to carry on. We are going to get to that point when that rain does come, and I now realize that in the last couple of nights we've had a little bit of drizzle. And I've noticed it because the dogs keep dragging their footprints through the bus and in on the bed. So I want to sort this area out, which means I'm just going to prioritize things, put them in a slightly different order. I noticed the cloud this morning, which is very unusual for September. So I'm gauging and I'm preparing myself that we're going to have a winter like we had this year. Now, bearing in mind that winters here are still very mild compared to the UK. We get less rain than the UK, obviously, in those months, but it can feel so much more uncomfortable. Even though it's fairly warm, the evenings can get quite cold, but it's the moisture, the damp in the air that causes the problem if you don't have the right heating or the insulation. So I need to make sure, as I'm in that bus, that I've got that sorted out. So I'm going to start by putting those posts in the ground, ready for when the roofing arrives, so I can put it up really quickly, and then I can get, hopefully, this pile of stones down here reduced right down. So if I can get this area sorted out, 1, visually it'll look a lot better, and 2, it will give me a big boost for moving forward as well. Right, that's my line. Cup of tea before I carry on. It doesn't matter how many of these holes I dig. I've got 1 down there so far, 2 to go. It doesn't get any easier But I have a little bit of cloud cover from time to time, which is making it a lot more comfortable. But when the sun comes out, yeah, it's still super hot. And unfortunately, we are a few days into the fly season, and these blasted horse flies, they do like to hover around and give you a little nibble from time to time, which is quite annoying. And they, of course, will be swiftly followed by the mosquitoes. I do have a couple of large citronella candles. I've got the Zapper, and I've got the Raid plug-in for inside the bus. I also have some mosquito netting, which I need to cut out and put on the other side or the outside of these windows, so I can have those open during the day and the evening time to let some air through. So I'm hoping that will help. But unfortunately, I don't come out of shorts until probably later in November time, just because it's too warm doing this sort of work to put trousers on. As soon as you start sweating, you're uncomfortable. But that, of course, means that you're now a target for those flies and mozzies, especially when I walk the dogs. Dogs are getting excited now because it's time for their tea and a walk. But while I'm up on the roof, I can see that the crack that I filled in hasn't come apart yet, so we're all right for the minute on that. But I came up here so I can look down onto this area. It's so nice when you have a list of things to do in the morning and by the end of the day you've actually done them. Makes a change. So what I'm going to do is leave an area all the way along there completely free, so when I'm working on the house I don't have to trip over anything. I'm going to get a row of stones to go along here, and then I'll put some more of that gravel. You see there's quite a lot still left over there, and I'll backfill in there so it has a nice tidy finish to it. A good day, very pleased about that. I'm going to stop now, walk the dogs, chill out a little bit, and I'll see you in the morning. Get some din-dins. Din-dins. Hello, good morning. Right, it's Thursday. Now, I looked at the weather forecast this morning and it looks like we're going to get some rain on Monday and Tuesday. I need to make sure I'm well prepared for that, and that means I've got to sort out the guttering on this roof. First thing I'm going to do is, because the guttering is white, is spray it. While that's drying, I want to get this area here covered, because when it does rain, that wind is going to come in there, and I want to try and keep that area as dry as possible. Right, got those in place now and they're sprayed, so I'm ready to put that fencing up there. I think that looks bloody awful. Okay, the bamboo is just resting up there. That's the roll that I found the other day. I wanted to know what that looked like, and I think it looked, well, it did look much better. So I'm going to keep that up there once I put it back up, and that will be my little windbreak for now. And I'm going to resort back to plan A, which is my bamboo, and I'm going to piece them all together bit by bit over the next week in my spare time, so that I have that whole area covered there, because I think that was always going to be the best option. I think I was cutting corners. Looking through that fence at the moment, it's exactly the look that I want, that I can actually see on the other side of there. I don't want to just black it out so that I'm completely blind to what's going on over there. They've used a rope to join that bamboo together, and I think that's a really good idea. I think I'll probably do that when I do mine. But when I've finished with that fence and mine's done, I'm going to attach it to the end here, and you can see I glued and screwed that post back just for the minute, so I could get that fence up there. And it does make a big difference, and it looks nice as well. So when the other one's joined to the end there, it should block out quite a lot of the wind. I can feel it already working, but that's pretty cool. Right, the previous owners left this tin, and there's not a lot in it, but it is the grey paint you see on this roof. So I've decided, as I need to still do a lot of decluttering downstairs, this is a good start, and it's not going to do any harm to put this over the areas that I've already fixed. Fingers crossed fixed, or at least will get me through the winter time. So I'm going to start over in that area because I've swept the floor now, and it's probably about as clear as it's going to get. When we do get that rain, all the leaves are going to come down off those branches, which does remind me that after the rain I am going to be cutting down a lot of those so they're not overhanging the house. And of course, if I do that before I paint, then I'm going to have to sweep it all first again and then paint it. So I'll get this out of the way first, and then I'll tackle other things around here afterwards. I'll start over there, come this way, and hopefully I'll have enough paint to at least go over the cracks that I had. Right, that's about as much as I can get out of that pot, and to be honest with you, I want to get off this roof because I'm sweating. It's so hot up here. That paint really stinks as well. It's a really I should have worn a mask, I guess, but it's actually made me feel quite sick. It's such a repulsive smell. It's just, I've got to get down. It's gross. Right, I've got 2 of the 3 pipes now. That's the guttering. They're sprayed. I only need to worry about 1.5 of those at the minute because that's going to go across this area here. I have a box full of goodies, and I'm hoping whilst I was in the shop trying to work this out in my head that I actually have everything I need. So I'm going to lay them out first, and hopefully once I've done that I can spray them and we're good to go. Now, these here, ordinarily, these are the things that, pretend this is a wall here, that would sit like this, screwed to the wall through those holes, and then the piping would just sit inside of there. But I can't do that because I have a metal roof. Now, the only other option I have, because I used these on the previous house, is this. Now, where my finger is running down, that's where it will attach to that bit I just had in my hand. And that way around, would ordinarily go over a roof tile, and then you would screw that down until it's tight onto the tiles, and that stops any movement. But I can't do that on here because it's a very thin metal, as you can see. So what I'm doing is, where that bolt is going through there, where the screw's going through, I'm going to place that over the roof like so, and then I'm going to drill through where that is, and then I can put the bolt through there, or the screw through there, and now I have another bolt and some washers which will hold that in place. And I'm hoping that that's going to work just fine. And then hopefully today I can get all of that guttering up there, running down here and off in that direction. I've just had to come and stand under this shaded area because for the first time this year, I'm actually feeling like I'm burning, which is an unusual time, I guess, to start feeling it after I've been out in it all year. And I've been out in it every day. But right now, it's really weird. When I was on the roof painting up there, I started to feel it. But now, just standing down here while I was doing that little video a second ago, I could feel my arms stinging. I realise now that while I was thinking that at the end of next month, October, I would be here for 6 years in the Algarve, and that's incredible. And this is going to be the first time I'm feeling myself burn properly. I think once I remember when I first came out here, but other than that, I don't ever remember burning because I'm very careful about it. So I want to get this guttering up as quick as possible. That's basically what I'm saying. I want to get it up as quick as possible so I can get into that bus and start working in there, at least to get 2 or 3 days away from this direct sunlight, because it's not going to start cooling down for another week or 2. It's about 34 degrees today at the moment, and I know as we get towards the end of September, it'll probably come down to the late 20s. But right now, yeah, it's super hot. I think I'm chatting to avoid me actually having to do anything, so I will just stop now and carry on. So I probably scratched all the paintwork, which isn't a problem because I'm coming back to the spray afterwards. I just wanted to get the bulk of it sprayed so that I can minimise the amount of spraying I do afterwards, because I don't want to get any on the underside of the roof. I'm not sure how I'm going to hold it up. I'll have to work that out as I go along. think that's turned out pretty good. Getting those bolts up and the screws was very fiddly because my fingers were fatter than the gap up there. So anyway, it's all up there, and I'm really pleased I sprayed it brown as well because it's blending in with all the framework. It's almost camouflaged up there. And the other nice thing as well is because I planted this coconut tree before I did all this, you can see how it's getting a little bit close to all that. I was worried that if I hadn't got this guttering up here, that would just be cutting itself on the metal framework. So this plastic here is just gonna stop it when the wind does blow from sawing the top off of it. So all in all, I'm really pleased with that. I'm just gonna carry on now, get this other piece cut out, get that up there, and then I can start at that end, tighten up all the bolts all the way along, making sure that I have a nice angle going down for the rainwater. Don't know why I'm videoing this. It's so fiddly, holding it and trying to get this in place. Right. Let's just put the camera there for a second and I can put some effort in. There we go. Yeah. There we go. Excellent. Okay, that's enough fun for today. I'm going to come back to the downpipe in the morning and hopefully finish that off. It was all going to run down there and be lovely. So I'll catch you in the morning. It's Saturday afternoon and I've just finished all the guttering and I'm really pleased to get that out of the way. And actually, I think it has worked out quite well and it looks quite nice as well. Spraying it brown was a good idea because it just sort of blends in with everything. But I've tried to follow the lines as good as I can, and I think that has worked. Of course, it's not all about that. It's doing what it's supposed to do, which is send water off down into the garden. So it's really nice to get that little job out of the way. It's Sunday morning. Good morning. And I did say yesterday I was going to stay away from the sun for a few days. So that's going to give me a good opportunity to get back into this bus and try and get it as close to finished in the next few days as possible. So I think I've probably only got enough space on this video for today. So I'll see what I can do before I end the video. But first of all, you already know I'm going to bring this wood burner back in. I'll come to that in a second. I did, before I changed my mind, buy this cushions. This is like a sofa that goes on pallets. And I was going to put that on top of that platform there. But now, obviously, that's going to have to find a new home. So there's a few things I want to carry on with around here today to try and smarten it up. I also want to try and sort the trimmings out as well. You can see along there's a few areas that aren't finished because those are things that are still inside the house, cluttering. So if I can get those cleared out of there and in here, that's going to be a good start. Right, I know I don't need to justify this, but I did say I would tell you why I was putting the wood burner back in. So I'm going to try and do this as quick as possible. In short, I did a little bit of research before I bought the fireplace and I went out of my way driving around everywhere trying to find everything that I needed to get this completely finished in there. And looking back on that now, I don't want that to be time wasted. I don't want to use the wood burner in the house. It's only a 6 kilowatt. I want something that's suited especially for that house that I can choose further down the line. I don't want something that's in the house there. It's not good enough for in the house. It's something that visually I want to look at from within the bus and see a nice flame. Now, I did have an option, which was the Dyson, which I bought back in August, at the very beginning of August, but I had a bad experience with Dyson.pt. They're not very good. The products aren't that great. This is only my experience, by the way, and I've got a grudge against them at the moment because their after sales were so poor. So I've gone back to the flame. Plus as well, once it's all in place, it's all down to me then to go get the wood and the kindling from down in the land, and I think there's a satisfaction in that. So that's what I'm going to do. Right, I've got everything out here that I need to put this wood burner together. I originally wanted all the pieces in black, but at the time they didn't have all the pieces, and the black ones were more expensive. So I've gone for these ones, and I bought a spray can in there, which is black, which will take the heat on there, and I got all the bits I'd need to put it together as well. So I'm going to spray that first. While that's drying, I can carry on doing all the trimming inside. Oh my God, that's heavy. Woo. So we're at that point now of commitment. The salamander is in place, but I've got to put a hole in the roof, and as soon as I've done that, there's no going back. So what I've got here is a double tube. This is going to act like a sort of thermos flask. It'll keep all the heat inside there, and I should theoretically be able to touch that without a problem, because I'm going to be going through this fiberglass ceiling, and then there's a gap, and then there's the fiberglass roof as well. So that'll be fun cutting that out. This tube here is actually too long. I'm going to cut it down to about that height, because this is going to get very hot, and I want to keep it as far away from the ceiling as possible. So now I still need to cut that out, spray all the pieces, get the hole in there, then put it all back together again, properly siliconed, and actually a fully working fire, and making sure I've filled in the seals around there for the rain. So that will be the test, the rain, but I've got to make sure that it's fully working as well. And I've got to do it all in the next couple of hours or so, maybe 3. I hope I've cut the right end. Right, I think I've got it all in place now. I've made a bit of a mess, if I'm honest with you, but I can go back over it again with the spray when I've got it all in place. It's very difficult not to scratch it. Unfortunately, there's this part here that's supposed to go over the top of that and fit neatly up against the ceiling like that, but I can't get it over the ridge, even with that clamp off. So I was either given the wrong one, or it's just not meant for that. So I'm going to use the other one, which is like a cone, but I'm going to have to go and get another one of those, because the one I do have, I want to put it on the roof. Right, where are we at? Salamander's in place, I'm happy to say. Was extremely fiddly, but it is done now. Expanding foam coming down through there is exactly right. It's filled the gap. It's gone into the cavity, and it's filled this gap on the underside as well. So I can trim it, tidy it all up when it's dried. And I'll talk about the salamander in a second. Whilst I had the expanding foam, I filled in a hole there on both sides as well. So once that's dried, I'll cut it, mold it, put a little bit of filler in there, and then I can sand it across so it blends in with this, paint all that, and get those lights up. That's pretty cool. And a couple of boards down there on the floor, I put those in. So that's a start on that. Now, I did manage to scratch this quite a few places, especially around there. There's a little trimming that goes around here, which I had to keep moving up and down. I knew that was going to happen. It isn't a problem. I'll get some cardboard behind there, and I can spray it all again in a couple of days. But it is in place, and that's the important thing. Now I'm going to show you the outside. Right, this unfortunately is a bit of an eyesore. I don't know what you think, but my God, it is standing out. And I know after I took off all the wing mirrors, I tried to make it as streamlined as possible. So now seeing that is like boop, boop. And I think me painting that black was probably not a good idea. So after the rain, I'm going to go back up there and take that black paint off of it, take it back down to the chrome, because at least it will reflect everything around here, which might make it look a little more camouflage, maybe even a little more invisible. But right now in the black, it really stands out, and I don't like it. But it is serving a purpose. I'm going to ignore it and for a couple of days, and I'll come back to it because I know there's something I can do about that. But right now, I said I was going to do as much as I can on the inside today before I end the video, and I think I've done that much now. Tomorrow I'm going to carry on, but for now I've made a bit of a mess out here, as you can see, and I've got to get it all tidied up, get everything indoors that I need to, and prepare myself for this rain that may or may not happen. But either way, I'm going to carry on tomorrow, and you won't miss anything because I'm going to carry on videoing it. But for now, that's the end. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thumbs up and subscribe, and look out for the next one. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.